up, guys? Welcome to another episode at Pittsburgh in the House. My co-host, appreciate you coming and hanging out with us. Today's episode, we're going to talk about 10 different players who are on the cheap and can possibly have an amazing next season. Me and Pittsburgh have 5 players apiece. Where we want to come up with, and we're going to give them to you. But the thing that I look into when looking at some of these players, I look at the athleticism. I look at kind of the situation with the team. Overall, like how the player is when they're in the game. Are they kind of like a little bit lackadaisical? Are they part of the offense? Are they make big splash plays? So that's kind of like what I look into. What are some things that you look into when you're looking?
Like I want to see guys that have heart in spite of how bad they're playing. I still want to see that they're going at it. They're not losing confidence. They're not shrinking in big situations. Like we talked about Ja Morant and how I just see so much fight and in that dude. There's just so much dog in him. To see Ja have that dog in him right off the bat, I knew that he was a good guy to invest in. So I try to look for those type of players whenever I'm trying to invest, especially in lower tier.
We're not saying go buy national treasures of these players. Buy the prisms. They're not that expensive. You know, you might even be able to get some of these guys even graded right off the bat for under $50. The main thing for me, like when I'm collecting, I'm trying to get people before they really get hyped. They really busting at the seams of their potential and everyone's kind of see it. I'm trying to catch these players before. These are the 5 guys that I have, and I'll give you my number 5 guy, which is Robert Williams. He's with the Boston Celtics, a guy who played very well in the playoffs, came off the bench, gave his team some energy, and I think him and Tice are really going to have a battle this year going into the season to see who will start. I think Robert Williams is going to start, so he's my number 5 guy. Definitely pick up his prism for a very cheap price right now.
And that's definitely going to be a huge pickup if he pops in any way, shape, or form, because you can get his stuff for literally pennies on the dollar right now. Variations and everything. So that'd be a big come up.
Who you got for your 5th pick?
My 5th guy is going to be PJ Washington Jr. with the Charlotte Hornets. The main reason he's not at least one spot higher is because he plays for the Charlotte Hornets. And there's not very much consistency in that organization. It has not shown me that it is able to build a consistent winner. It might have what some believe to be the greatest basketball player of all time, but he has not shown me that he is the greatest owner of all time yet. I've seen a lot of PJ Washington, and I really like his game. I just don't like the pieces around him.
I'm going to go with his teammate at number 4, Devonta Graham. He was, I believe, the 3rd place in most improved player. Them two are definitely bright spots for their team, but like team culture, team success plays a huge part, or at least a decent sized part when looking at these players, because hype is what gets those prices up. It gets the masses going for him. That's my 4th pick as well. I think he's a good player. I just think he's in a bad situation, but I think there's definitely more room for growth with him, so that's why he's on the list today.
Definitely. I'd say for my 4th spot, I'm going to go Keldon Johnson for the exact opposite reason that PJ was in the 5 spot. I'm going to put him in the 4 spot because I do like the team atmosphere around him. I like the fact that he plays for the Spurs, which is a very historic franchise. I like the fact that Popovich coaches him, and Pop, a legendary coach, one of the best who's ever done it. So I think that there's just a lot going for him. I think there's a lot of pieces. There's some good veterans there to kind of show him the way. And I just like the flashes I've seen of him thus far. So I think that there's a lot of upside, and his stuff is still super cheap.
Yeah, I agree. The Spurs have a great culture, great coach. He really gets the most out of his players. So with my 3rd pick, I'm going Darius Bailey for the OKC Thunder. He was a guy who got some playing time in the playoffs, kind of a wing power forward / player, can 3-and-D with Gallinari getting up in age, and I believe he's a free agent this year, could find his way into the starting 5. And I mean, with that core, another young core team with Chris Paul at the helm, the guy could shoot the 3, spread the floor, lengthy defender. So I've
heard a lot of analysts hyping him lately too. Just how good he's looked just in the bubble. I really think that's a good one to be picking up right now. I would say my 3rd one is one that really even shouldn't be on this list, but due to injury, somehow squeaks his way onto this list, and that would be Triple J, Jaren Jackson Jr. with the Memphis Grizzlies. This kid has so much upside. I was so huge on him even last year, and just what he was doing with Ja it was incredible. He was real hot coming into the bubble. He went down with that injury, and he was out the rest of the year, and his card prices began to go down. I believe that it's not a serious enough injury that it would do any kind of long-term damage to him. With that being the case, I still think that this kid's a stud. Playing alongside Ja Morant is going to be huge for his game long-term. He's big, he plays D, he can rebound, and he can shoot the three. So that's just a dangerous type of player in the modern NBA. So I see big things happening for him. And I think this is going to be the perfect time for anybody who's even missed the boat on getting in on Triple J to go ahead and hop on him while his prices are still low.
With my second pick, I'm going to go up to Canada. Shout out the Thrift Beast. We got OG Anunoby. They have a lot of free agents this year. Hit second biggest shot in the Raptors history. Of course, the Kawhi shot from last year beat them. I would say second. He hit a game winner versus Boston Celtics. Another player that has range, play D, and just another young player that his card prices are just haven't spiked for any reason. And I think this year will give it some reason too, because of him sneaking into the starting role depending on what happens in the free agency this year.
Yeah, there's a lot of upside to anyone who's going to be playing in that Raptors team, because they have the pieces to be dangerous. There's a lot of dogs on that team. I would say my second player, this is a guy I've been big on all year. He saw his prices go up a little bit before the NBA stoppage, but then they've just been down, and they've stayed down, and that's Seiko Demboya. I believe he's the number 15 overall pick by the Detroit Pistons. I'm just really big on this guy's game. I see a lot of upside in him. Right now, while his prices are still low, they're not going to be as low as some of the prices we've mentioned, but he's still reasonably low, guys. So I think that this is a great opportunity to go out there and buy Seiko before he pops off big next year.
Yeah, I think he's going to be basically their star player next year. He's almost like a clone to Pascal Siakam. Very explosive, can shoot, can dribble off the ball. Play a little D. Question that probably a lot of people is just team success. That's mainly to me. I grabbed some of his cards. I got him graded silver and a PSA 10 base of his as well. So I do believe that there is something there for sure still to come for his cards to go up in value.
Yeah, I have a ton of his stuff that going to be going in my first submission.
So my top pick is going to be Matisse Thybulle of the Philadelphia 76ers. With Doc Rivers coming over, I just think that he's going to be able to hit that starting role. He got some playing time in the playoffs for the 76ers with Ben Simmons being hurt. Ben Simmons is probably going to play either small forward or power forward. I would say probably power forward. He's probably going to get sneaked into that starting five. A good defensive player, guy could shoot. Team success, adding Doc Rivers, I just think a lot of promise can be there for him. I picked up his select RPA for $30 on eBay at auction, so I'm hoping it can do Jamal Murray type numbers when I sold his at the same price. So
yeah, I saw Matisse play some pretty big minutes in the playoffs too for them. So that shows me a lot that they were willing to lean on a rookie in those key situations in the playoffs. So that just shows me that he's more than just, a role player on the team. He actually has some kind of a future if they're willing to lean on him in that key moment already. So I would say my first person in this list has to be, of course, a Cleveland Cavalier, but I'm using my head, not my heart with this one. I'm going to say Kevin Porter Jr. I just think the world of him. Personally think he's the steal of the draft, and not just because he plays for my favorite team. I just think that he's a diamond in the rough. I feel like he should have been a top 5 talent. I would have been happy with them taking him where they took Garland at 5. We ended up getting him, I believe, 26, somewhere late. He's just so explosive. They purposely put him in more towards the end of the season just to get him more minutes to help him develop more. And I just see him being one of the key building pieces around this young rebuilding franchise. I think he's going to get a lot of shine because of that. And I think that's going to do really awesome for his card prices. Get for example, a PSA 9 graded prism for $20, optic $20, like graded cards of him. You know, like I've been picking up a ton. It's awesome to be able to get in on the ground floor with some of these guys.
We'll see, man. Like I said, this video is guys we're trying to hit before the hype, where you can get in extremely low costs, so it's like low risk, but could be huge rewards if all things that we vision happen on the court next year. So just be mindful when purchasing these things, and if you hit on them, make sure to leave a comment in the video a year from now or whatever the case is. That'd be pretty awesome.
Hey guys, do us a favor. Before you click off this video today, make sure you go down below and check to see if you're subscribed to Nate. If you're not, make sure you take that red button and you punch it with your mouse till it becomes gray. And then you want to go and click that bell notification so you don't miss any of these show recordings, because we're going to be dropping them all the time. They're going to be epic. You won't want to miss any of them. And then go down to that description and make sure you click the link that says Picksburgh and go over there and subscribe too, because we're doing really cool content on my channel as well, guys. We appreciate each and every one of you. Stay awesome.